Hello everyone, welcome to the Getting Started section of the OBS guide. I'm going to skip a little bit ahead. I'm not going to cover the section about installing the software or how to find it. I'm going to instead just jump a little bit ahead to understanding what you see in the OBS control panel, or what you basically see on the screen here. So what you see right now should resemble something like what you see when you open OBS for the first time. Now, for you, you're not going to have this extra teaching scene here. So this is something that I have. It's a separate project I'm working on. You won't have any sources here. So I've added these just so I can record this tutorial. But for you, I think you'll only have something that says scenes here, and you won't have any sources. When you open up OBS for the first time, you'll also get a pop-up that asks you to run through an auto configuration wizard. Now, because I think it's because I've already gone through the process, but as you can see, I can't get that pop-up to show. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to just look at the notes that I've written in the guide for that. I won't be able to give you a visual tutorial of that. But what I really want to cover in this section is just a basic a breakdown of the OBS control panel. Okay, so going by the numbers that I have in the guide, number one, I have listed the preview pane. So that's this main section here. So right now I have the preview disabled, and that's mainly just for visual purposes, because if I turn this on, we get this crazy Inception looking thing and it's kind of distracting. So I'm just gonna disable that. But this is the preview pane, the number one in the guide. So this is the area that will show you what your eventual recording looks like visually. So when you start OBS for the first time, this preview pane should be all black, like a black screen. And that is because you haven't added any sources to record yet. And I'll explain what sources mean in a moment. Number two that I've listed in the guide is the scenes section. Okay, so in your control panel, think of the scenes section as the place where you have all your layout templates stored. Okay, so what I mean by that is you can save the layout of your video lecture as a scene, and so that the next time you start up OBS, you don't have to reset everything again, right? You don't have to reconfigure everything. You don't have to add, delete, remove stuff. It's all there ready for you to go. Scenes are also helpful for intermediate and advanced users if you want to switch between multiple layouts. So for example, maybe I'm in the middle of my video lecture, I can switch to a scene that just focuses on the desktop or just focuses on the PowerPoint. So it's a really helpful tool, but I think for beginners, you don't really have to worry too much about the scene section, and you can really just leave it as is. The next section on our list is the sources section. Okay, so this section right here. So for you right now, this should be blank. There shouldn't be anything here. The sources section is probably one of the most important sections in all of your OBS control panel. A source represents the elements that can be added into your video lecture, right? So if you plan on recording your voice, you're going to need to add a audio capture source. If you want to record, a PowerPoint or something that's appearing on your desktop, you're going to have to add a desktop capture source. So this is the area that will display all those elements that are part of your eventual video lecture layout. And instead of explaining what each source does, because there are so many of them, I'm going to just keep it simple, and I'm only going to talk about the sources that I feel you need to record a video lecture. The fourth section in the guide that I talk about is this section, the audio mixer. Okay, so the audio mixer here will tell you whether or not your audio related elements are being picked up. Okay, so right now you can see this volume meter lighting up and dancing around. This lets me know that my microphone, my Yeti microphone, is picking up my audio. If you find that you're talking and nothing here is moving, there's nothing lighting up, that lets you know that your audio isn't being picked up by OBS. Here in this audio mixer section, you can also mute and unmute your sources, which is very helpful. When you open up OBS for the first time, you're gonna have a section, I believe right here, called scene transitions. So for the sake of simplicity, as you can already tell, I had taken mine out. You don't have to worry about this section. In fact, you can remove it entirely if you want. So to remove it, what you would just do is right-click scene transitions up here. You scroll down, you see how it's checked. You're gonna uncheck that, and it's gone. Okay. If you want to add it later on, just click one of these sections, and then check scene transitions. But for now, I think for simplicity's sake, I'm going to just take it out. And then the last section, I believe I wrote it as number 6 in the guide, is the controls section. Okay, so here, the really only buttons you need to worry about are the start recording button, which usually would be here, but as you can see, because I've started recording, it says stop recording. Another button you need to just be aware of is the settings button, because this button will let you get into sort of the guts, the nuts and bolts of OBS. Okay, so for the controls section, all you really need to worry about is stop recording and settings. So this is your sort of general layout of your OBS control panel. In the next section, we'll talk about how to actually use these components, use these sections to help us set up our video layout.